Great rising, you all. It is very much so early in the morning. On the East Coast, it is 5:37 a.m. Um, and as per usual, I wake up, I give my gratitude, and I sit and I listen and I meditate and I go over things and stuff like that. And usually when I have my randomness, it's within a matter of 12 to 15 minutes. I try my very best to stay within that timeline because I do not like to keep you all long. I don't, not at all. Just want to kind of hit it and quit it, give you what Spirit has given me, and then you can do with it whatever you will, okay? But what I'm about to say has been on me for some time now. And I know that for some of you all, it's probably been the same way for you. And I just want you all to hear me out on this, okay? The matter of our Black lives mattering day after day, day after day. There's more and more to add on to the stress, the frustration, the tiresome load that we as Black people, as African Americans, what we have been going through, what we are going through now. And honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, what we will continue to go through, because we're fighting for our lives to matter as well as everybody else's. Not to say that our lives are the only ones that matter. That is not, has never been the message. It has never been what we've been saying. But that goes to show you that it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter what we say because it's not being heard. Because it's not trying to be heard. Okay? This is heavy, and it has been heavy on me for such a long time, which is why I fight so hard. I go so hard with my day-to-day duties and just taking ownership of my life, taking ownership of my day, taking ownership of the things that I am purposed to do and doing them well. We've heard I have a dream speeches and all of those things. We heard them all and we're grateful. We're so grateful for every person that has come before us to help pave the way. But y'all, until we're seen as human, we'll never get what we're asking for. I don't understand for the life of me. Why it is so difficult to respect us, to coexist with us, to see our beauty, to see our value. Since history in this country, I'm going to say in this country, since our history in this country, we've been treated as less than, we've been raped, we've been killed, lynched, we've been burned, whipped, we've been pillaged, we've been slaughtered, we've been made public displays. Even children, little white children, would dance around the hanging bodies of our ancestors for sport. The white mothers and fathers would use our people as an example. I remember the story of, I believe her name was Mary. I forget her last name, but she was a woman, a wife, a mother in Valdosta, Georgia. That is here in the state that I live in. And it wasn't so long ago. Wasn't so long ago. Because the stuff that we've experienced in this life or heard of in this life, it's and it goes back just like great grandparents back, you know? This is not thousands of years ago. No. This is like stuff that my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, my grandmother lived. Grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather lived. They lived it. And then our grandparents were saying, you know, enough is enough. I'm not going to allow myself to live this abuse, or enough is enough. I refuse to allow my children to go through what I went through, which is why a lot of our ancestors migrated to the north. Because in the South, even along the East Coast, it was happening. It was happening. We are so hated, and it's so discouraging sometimes, because it was on the backs of our people that this very country that chooses to bully us, to kill us, to slay us, to mutilate us, to disrespect us, to disregard us. This very country that was overtaken by people that it did not belong to. How do you discover something where people was already on? How do you do that? How does one take ownership of another human being? How does that happen? It's not even right for parents to act like owners of their children. That ain't even right, because you don't own your children. You were a vessel at which your children were brought into this physical realm from the spirit realm. You don't own them. They don't belong to you. They are an assignment for you. Okay? And then once they receive their assignment, once your assignment is over, their task continues without you. Okay? Because they had that purpose before you. Okay? But that's neither here nor there. This ain't the segment for that. But for one to feel like they have the right to obtain rulership and ownership of a human being, so much so that you get to order them around, you beat them, you strike them, you whip them, you rape them. Whenever you want to get your rocks off, you take it as if you're owed it, as if you're entitled to it. Our men were built up like bulldogs and made to fight and put on display like they were animals called mandingos. Had leashes around their necks, chains around their necks and wrists and things like that, and was ordered to fight to the death for sport. For sport. Used as pawns and tools in a friendly game of whatever, competition. The children stolen away from the parents and all of those things. But getting back to the story of the young lady of Valdosta, Georgia, Mary, her husband was taken and killed, hung, set on fire from a tree in Valdosta over something that it was a misunderstanding or he didn't do or something like that. And so his wife, Miss Mary, she was pregnant with their child, their soon to be born child, and then they had another child, a boy, little boy. And she went out and she fussed and she fussed and she fussed. And she cried and she fussed at the people that had hung her husband. You know, while his body was hanging and swinging, she fussed and she fussed and she fussed. And she cried and she fussed. So much so that because she was fighting on behalf of her now deceased husband, they took her, they strung her up, they cut her belly open so deep that the baby fell out and hung by her umbilical cord. And then I think they shot her while she hung there, all in front of her little boy's face. We are so mistreated. We're so hated. And I don't understand why, because again, we built this country with our hands, our backs. We built this country. Our inventions. You can't look around and see something that a black person has not invented. You can't do that. It is impossible to look around you right now at this very moment and not see something, whether you know who invented it or not. It is impossible to look around and not see something that a black person has invented. Seriously. This country was built by our people's hands, our ancestors' hands, with their brilliant technology and their brilliant minds and genius mindsets. It is our people. Our people. And I'm going to tell you what has happened since the history of time. Our people's inventions and ideas and thoughts and brilliance and genius was stolen and paraded around by someone white who had nothing to do with it. That has been the case since the very beginning. We've done the work. They've taken the credit. We've built it. They've claimed it. I don't understand why for us and for our people, why we're so hated so much. When what we're made up of is pure love. We've, even in the midst of that right there, we found our solace in family, in soul, in dance, in music. You know, the reaction of violence that we have is because we're tired. Now, don't get me wrong. It's no excuse, and I'm not condoning it. Not at all. But the reaction that we display is because we're tired. And at some point, enough is enough. What have we done so wrong and so heinous to these people to be treated the way that we are treated? What have we done so despicable? We were stolen from our homelands, our native lands, our people. We were stolen. Stolen. We weren't asked if we would like to go for a ride. We weren't asked if we wanted to go and see new things, just discover new lands and visit. No, we weren't given the option. We were taken against our will. Against our will. Away from everything that we knew. Our family, our villages, our tribes, our children, our mates, our livelihood, what we knew, our faith, our religious and spiritual practice. We were stolen and forced to take on another persona because apparently the one that we had was not good enough. Forced to do what we knew not of. So because they saw that we built villages and lands and things like that, so now we got to come in and be made to do it for you, or get beat or get killed, even down to nourishment. They gave us scraps. They gave us scraps while they would have our women to cook for them. Do you know what they would do? What they made our women do to ensure that we weren't eating their food that we just spent hours cooking? Our women would have to whistle the entire time that they were bringing the food back to the house to master. They would have to whistle, because if you can't whistle if your mouth is full, to prove to them that we're not eating their food that we raised, that we cooked, that we probably killed and slaughtered and things like that, prepared for them. We were forced to raise their children, even breastfeed their babies. Our women, after having their own children, were forced to breastfeed the children and the babies of the people who stole them. Our women were forced to clean and raise their children. Our women were forced to clean and cook their meals, clean their house, iron their clothes. If that ain't privilege and entitlement and laziness, downright laziness, I don't know what is. We were forced to do it. While they dressed nice, we dressed in scraps. While they ate full meals, the best parts of the cow and the best parts of the ham and the best parts of the this and the best parts of that, they gave our people scraps. Where do you think we got the notion to eat pig ears and pig feet and pig tails and chitlins and cow tongue? Because we had to make do with what we had. But I'm going to tell you about the beauty of our people. We took everything that was given to us and made it greater. That's just the makeup of us. That's the soul of us. Our people, even while being forced, even I have a grandmother who transitioned in 97. But I did that. I took the liberty of doing the history and the ancestry all the way through and forming a family tree. And I was able to retrieve the census report. And if you know what a census report is, back in those times, in their times, they would have to do one. I don't know if it was yearly. I don't know if it was every 5 years, every 10 years, but they always would have to do a census report. They would fill out a census report, and that would determine the members of each family, how old they were, the birth dates, and pretty much what plantation they were on, and what their title was, what their job was, and all of that stuff. And so my grandmother, I pulled a census report for her, at several of them actually, and her father was listed as a farmer, which that's another code word for free labor. Okay. His wife listed as a farmer. His wife was not my grandmother's mother. My grandmother's mother passed away, if not during the birth, after the birth of her, and stuff like that. And so her father remarried, and it listed her brother, my Uncle George, and then her, my great Uncle George, her brother. It said that her father had I want to say a 6th grade education. And it said that my grandmother had a 3rd grade education. Because at a certain point, it'll say if the child was in school or not, or what grade they were in. And at a certain year, the census report stopped reporting my grandmother's schooling. Why? Because she was made to leave school and go out in the field to help her father. That was what had to happen. So there was no care for the children. There was no desire for the children to be children. Not our children. Not our children. Because our children, they had a price on their head just like our women and our men did. They had a price on their head. We were stolen from our native lands, brought over here to this country, forced to work. We couldn't speak our language. We couldn't practice our spiritual practices that worked, mind you. And again, that's a whole other story, because what we know today as Christianity was forced upon us. And not only was it forced upon us, it was reworked in their favor, i.e., the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. Okay? Again, different story for another day. But, well, I'm going to say this. I don't understand how our people won't do the due diligence in learning the history behind how we first began operating and practicing Christianity. Not only that, I don't understand how our people don't understand that there are lost books. There are books that were removed from the actual text of the Bible to make it more palatable and more convenient for the white man to rule and govern. If you pay attention to the Bible, it's so much white man misogynistic behavior inside of that book. It's not even funny. What is that reminiscent of? This country. This country right here. White man misogyny. It's reminiscent of this country. Let me tell you another fact. And y'all can go and do with it whatever you will. It wasn't no white people in that time. So, okay. I'm going to leave that there. We were forced to forget where we came from. We were forced to forget our native practices. We were forced to forget our native tongue. We were forced, or we would die. Why? Because they knew that what we did and what we practiced, it worked instantly. Because we had access to the elements. We didn't worship nameless things. No. We did what worked. We did what we were connected to. We did what we were made of. And that was, we operated from nature, which is from whence we came, where our source is. We understood our 5 elements. 5 elements. Earth, fire, wind, water, and ether, spirit. We understood those things, and we remained connected to all 5. Okay? Which is where we got our innovation, which is where we got our inventiveness, which is where we got our understanding, which is where we got our insight, directly from source. Directly from source. We respected the ancestors because we understood that as above, so below. As within, so without. Outside of the physical is the spiritual. Our ancestors never go anywhere. Once they're completely expire in this realm, in this 3D realm, physical realm, they return back to spirit, but they don't go nowhere. They're steady guides for us. We knew these things, but then we get over here, and because that was our practice, we were forced to unlearn it because the white man couldn't understand it. Okay? He didn't know what type of juju you was putting on him. And what he do? Called it voodoo, called it black magic, called it hoodoo, called it witchcraft, called it demonic, and then told you that it was that same thing too, which got you out here thinking that it's witchcraft, it's demonic, it's this and then the third. When you're denouncing your own history, you're denouncing what's in you. And what's funny is, in the Christian world, the putting of the laying on of the hands, the speaking in unknown tongues, the putting oil on the foreheads, the dancing and the shouting, the worshiping and the singing, and the instrument playing, and all of those things. Or how about this? Make a wish, blow out your candle. How about on New Year's Day? We making those greens and those black eyed peas, anybody? Those fish, those, okay. But everything else is demonic. We pick and choose what we want to follow. That's your history. And the reason that, look, even in the Bible, you had Christ himself spit in dirt, make it mud, put it on the eyes, tell the person to rinse it off. Tell the person to rinse it off. And they can see, right? Went and told somebody to dip in the water 7 times. All right? Told somebody to follow the northern star. You had the 3 wise men. Okay, I know we didn't change that story, but the wise men that came, followed the star to the baby and brought him frankincense and myrrh and incense and all of the things. The somebody, who was it, Job, that was able to, and I could be wrong, but that was able to tell the time by the positioning of the sun. Even the people in the Bible was led by air, fire, earth, water, and spirit. Blood on the doorpost, blood on the thresholds to protect you from any demonic, any evil, any negative. But voodoo and hoodoo is demonic and witchcraft. Interesting. The handwriting on the wall that the king called Daniel, Daniel to come and interpret. But it's hoodoo and it's voodoo and it's witchcraft. And we were taught to denounce who we are. I'm going to tell you how brilliant our people are, though. Because while they were forced to learn this new faith and this new religion, they were working our practices inside of the text. They were working our practices inside of what they were learning so that their children were not to forget. Do not forget where you come from. And unfortunately, when they stole our people and they forced us to do this and forced us to do that, they forced us to learn a new faith and forced us to forget our originality and where we come from, our source. Our source. We are so conditioned to believe that this good white man with this good white Jesus is going to come and save us when, my loves, we have always been able to save ourselves. It's in us to do so. Every one of our answers have always been within. But we've been taught to go to the man and get saved and delivered. Interesting. Because we've been conditioned to believe that we don't have the power to do it ourselves. We believe in that. We believe it. And so it continues. And so it continues. Government, they make us believe that we need them. They make us believe that we have to reach out for them for assistance because we can't make it. The same people that built this country, do you understand that the wherewithal that our people were able to build this country is the same wherewithal that you are able to build yourself? You don't need a stimulus. You don't need a stimulus. Stimulate yourself. This country was built by your hands. The inventions utilized in this country were invented by your brain, your people, the makings of you. In my home, I had the privilege and the honor of assisting in raising my siblings, my baby brother and sister. And my family, we are a tight knit. On my mom's side, we are tight knit. We don't play no games about each other. And so, we are a village. We understand what a village is. Same way that we were over before we were stolen, okay? We were villages. We understood what village was because it actually took a village to do what we had to do. It took a village to raise the people, the children. It took a village to instill. It took a village to help. It took a village, which is why people understand polygamy, polyandry. Okay, that's another topic. All right. I am determined to break some of these stereotypes and some of these conditionings in the brains of us. I swear I am. I swear I am. Because polygamy was over in our tribal lands as well. Just saying. Okay. Because it wasn't just about sex and orgies. It was about creating and building a village. All right. Going back to my family, we are a village. Okay. If the actual parent of the child wasn't able and aren't able for whatever reason to do or to be or to have or to whatever, the whole family came together. It was not unusual for a niece or a nephew to stay with an auntie or uncle. Mama, daddy's still living. Yes. It was not unusual for a granddaughter, grandson to stay with the grandmama, while the mama and the daddy get themselves together or build whatever they got to build or do whatever they got to do. My grandmother herself, my mama's mama herself, left her children in Mississippi to come to Chicago to build a better life. And then when she got on her feet, she sent for her children. Nobody judged her. Nobody mistreated her. They understood, and the family stepped in to do what it took to help build and assist. Okay? Nowadays, you got some women that want to go to work, can't afford daycare, got to take the kids to work, got to leave the kids in the hotel rooms, got to leave the kids in the car, half the shift, and all this stuff, because God forbid they ask auntie them or mama them or whoever next door neighbor to keep the kids or to keep our eye out for the kids. Because see, back in the day, we were able to stay in the house. We were able to do what we got to do because we had neighbors that came over there, knocked on the door. What y'all doing in here? Did y'all eat? Y'all come on over here so we can eat. Make sure you clean your house. Your mama coming home from work, so make sure you do your homework. Did you do your homework? It was not unusual for an auntie or uncle to look and tap in and look at the kids, look after the kids, and make sure everything. There wasn't nobody calling Child Protective Services. Wasn't nobody calling the police. We had neighborhood watch. If your child cut up down the street, the neighbor down the street had permission to whoop your behind and send you back down to your house. But you better believe they done already called your mama, called your daddy, and by the time you got to their house, one of them in the doorway with the belt. You better get it again. Cause for embarrassing us down there and for what you did. Okay? Say it all at the say. I had the pleasure and honor of helping and assisting my mom in raising my siblings, my baby brother and sister. And then at a certain point in there, when they were up in age, they came to stay with me. Okay? And so when they stayed with me, they had two options. Two options. You gonna go to work or you gonna go to school? Whichever one. I do understand I'm not the type of sister/parent that don't understand that everybody ain't meant for school. Okay? Everybody's not meant to attend school. That's just not everybody's stilo. And in my coming up, now I know that based on your trade and your desire and your purpose and what it is that you are able to have a passion in doing, it may or may not require schooling. It may just require certification. It may just require a permit. It may just require trade school. And not a 4-year degree, 8-year, this and then the third, PhD, master's, bachelor's, or whatever the case. Because there's a whole lot of folks that got those degrees and ain't doing none of what they got that degree for. Sidebar, another conversation. Okay? That's why it's imperative to tap into your purpose. Find out what that is and get there. Okay? So you're not wasting time spinning around in circles, chasing your own tail, owing somebody money for the rest of your life for something that you ain't using. That's foolish. But they'll never tell you that because they want you to owe them some money. Anyway, they had options of working or going to school. Okay? The reason that we said that, and that's been since the history of our family. If you gonna be here If you going to be here, you going to be here for a reason. We're not just going to encourage you sitting on your butt. We're not going to encourage you being lazy. We're not going to encourage you, not knowing what you want to do with your life. You know why? It's not that we were, hard on each other and stuff like that. No, the reason is because there's been people that came before us, our people that came before us that lost their lives and would have given everything to have the opportunity, the freedom and the opportunity to do what they wanted to do, to have a choice in what they wanted to do, to go to school, finish school, or go to work for pay. For pay. It's been way too many sacrifices made before us for us to get here and act like it's owed to us. It is no secret. We all know these people don't like us. Even when we was quote unquote freed, emancipated, everybody want to celebrate Lincoln. Let me tell y'all something. Let me put this feather in your cap. If Abraham Lincoln was not in jeopardy of losing the Civil War, he would have never, and I mean he would have never, utilized our men and gave them freedom to put them in that war. The reason that he got our men, he released us, emancipated us, and put our men in that war is because he was losing the war. And he needed more numbers. It was not because Abraham Lincoln was just so in love with the black man or the black people. Nah. So y'all can get off his nuts. I can't believe these folks got monuments around this place. Like, they got whole statues and stuff. Are you kidding me? Mount Rushmore is engraved with racist leaders. That's what y'all proud of out here? But I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. Because this is America. This is America. Okay? They reward this type of behavior. Why? Because this is the foundation of this doggone country. So we told and we were all on top of everybody. We were on top of everybody to do what they got to do and all of those things, even with our people being free to go and now pursue what it is that they're supposed to do, right? They can do after the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, Gettysburg Address and all of that fooly-wang stuff, okay? Then the things that we were forced to do for the white man who stole us and bartered and exchanged us for money and whatever the case, we took those very things and we went and built businesses. Because we're innovative like that. Because we ain't clowns. We know how to take lemons and turn it into some good old zesty, sweet, nice, chilled lemonade. Because the one thing, again, what did I say? When the owners of the land, so-called owners of the land, the robbers, the oppressors, when they would eat the good of the meat, they would throw out the scraps to the ancestors. Ancestors would take them scraps and make do and make a full meal. That's the same thing our people did when they released us out of those chains. Physical chains, because they are still chains, proverbial chains right now. Okay? When they released us out of those chains, we then took what we were doing for free and for beatings and all of that stuff. And we opened up businesses. Black Wall Street. Okay? When that happened, and they saw that we knew how to be innovative, and they saw that we knew how to take lemons and turn them into lemonade, then they want to force us to have licensing and permits and city business license and tax license and this, because they gonna have their hand in the pot one way or another, because they greedy like that. They don't know how to earn what they got. They steal what they got. Even in the Bible talks about the enemy comes but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That is the makings. That is the history of those people. From our introduction to them. They come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Innovation where? They steal what somebody else has done and slap their name on it. It's been and then try to belittle what we do. This is the history. This is the history. So that's what they did. They saw that we built businesses. We had blocks on blocks on blocks on blocks of businesses, Black owned and operated businesses, and it was a success. Money was flowing through that whole community. That black dollar, because it's a real thing, that black dollar went long and stretched far. They were wealthy on that street. They were wealthy. And everybody looked out for everybody. They had banks, schools, laundromats, theaters, restaurants, and any business you can think of, shoe shining, tailor, seamstress, anything that you can think of, they had a business. Our people had a business. And because we were doing so well, too well, to them, too well, what they do, Tulsa Massacre. It came through, burned down, killed almost everybody out there, took away every business. Why? Because how dare they? How dare they think that they can equal up to us? How dare they be innovative? How dare they? How dare they take the things that we made them? We taught them how to do that, because the delusion and grandeur is at an all-time high. How dare they? Who do they think they are? Who do they think they are? Opening up businesses and making profits. That's our money. That belongs to us. They don't deserve to be on our level. So they'll say, we don't deserve to have the money. We don't deserve to have the houses. We don't deserve to have the cars. We don't deserve to have the lifestyle. We don't deserve. Look at what they do immediately, even with our people being murdered, brutally murdered at the hands of police officers, white police officers, slain unwarrantedly, and no weapons, and hands in the air, and all of this stuff, shot in the back, killed, shot over here, shot over there, slain our people for ages. Okay, our people, the first thing they do is try to dig up their history to try to justify why they're dead. Our people were school teachers, former military. There was a man here recently that was at the gas station, was stopped in his uniform, in his military uniform, stopped and harassed, flung out, forced to come out of his truck, and belittled, wrongfully accused, mistreated by an officer. This man had on a military uniform. You mean to tell me Our people that is volunteering their lives for this godforsaken country with their uniform on can't get the respect. They go out there and fight for your ungrateful tail, and they can't get the respect when they've done nothing wrong. It's because of their skin. You all hate us so much because our skin don't look like yours. In the Mormon religion, it's laughable. The Mormon religion says that our black skin is punishment for us being mediocre. That's what the Mormons believe. They've been believing this since the creation of the faith. Because we were wavering, our punishment was to be black. Back in the German times, in Germany, in the times of Hitler and before him, they created concentration camps, or what they call rehabilitation camps, aka prisons, for our black skinned natives. Why? Because our black skin was proven to be a disease. And they put us in these buildings to rehabilitate us, quote unquote. There's been some Dove commercials that were very controversial that showed Dove now. This is Dove body wash. That showed a commercial of someone being dirty and black woman dirty, stepping in the shower with their Dove soap, and then stepped out a white woman, as if being dirty and being black is the same, and being clean and being white is the same. There's been cartoons where someone who was riddled with demons and all of this stuff, skin was black, toothless, everything. But when they were healed and relieved of the demon, they were white, happy and smiling. It's expected for us, y'all. It is expected for us to be nothing, to be less than, to be monsters, to be abusers, to be lazy, to disrespect our women, to not be there for our children, to disrespect our men, to not appear to work, to kill, to fight, to tear down. It's expected of us to do these things because it justifies their view of us. I would tell my siblings that they either had to go to work or go to school because they had no choice but to make it and make something of themselves. We gotta make it. We gotta make it. We have no choice. We today are our ancestors' wildest dreams. They would sit in captivity hoping for a day to be free to do whatever they wanted to do. And here we are, fruit of their loins, living that dream. And we cannot afford, we don't have the luxury of wasting it away. So that's why you got to go to school, or that's why you got to go to work, because you have no choice. We got to make it. We cannot continue to be what they expect us to be. Our family, my family on my mama's side, you ain't got no choice. Like it or not, we gonna band together. We gonna see what each other need. We gonna try our very best to get it done. But we understand the concept that it takes a village. My grandmother didn't play no games. Not with her kids. She didn't play no games. They might not have been the most lovey-dovey, the most affectionate, the most this, the most that. But I'm going to tell you something about Bessie Lee Gardner. If her children needed, she was there. If her children had any type of trouble, she was there. If anybody mistreated her children, she was there, gun-toting and all. You know why? Because she herself came from a place. She know the story all too well. All too well. Because she was forced to give up her grade school, elementary school education to go out in the field and help her father. Never being able to go back into school. So my grandmother left here with an elementary school education. But let me tell you what she did have. The wherewithal to make it do what it do. Because that is the history of our people. We are brilliant like that. We are brilliant like that. Especially when you tap into source, when you tap into the energy at which that fuels you, that you made of. That piece of paper and that degree and that diploma don't mean a hill of beans when you are tapped into source, where you come from. Because source has the truth, knowledge, understanding, more than you will ever learn in these schools. Let me tell you something. Malcolm X said it best. It takes a fool to allow their enemy to teach their children. You get your best education at home. That's another feather for your cap. A fool allows their enemy to teach their children. A fool. You know why? Because that same conditioning that happened before is continuing to happen. You understand that in the month of February, the shortest month out of this year, the month that they so graciously, quote unquote, allowed us to have and called Black History Month. No disrespect to Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Harriet Tubman, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Frederick Douglass. But trust and believe there's many other Black people that can be known and celebrated. But that's them the only ones that they give us. The only ones that they give us. It takes you to do your own history lesson. Don't you ever let a white school based on a white curriculum tell you what your Black history is. Are you kidding me? That same white school told you Christopher Columbus discovered this doggone country. Oh, okay then. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? That same book, that same study, that same concept, that conditioning starts at a young age. It is up to us, the truth keepers, to teach those children so that they can come up knowing who they are and understanding how to develop what they are naturally. Teach them the basic education, but also teach them who they are and where they come from. Their true history. And we bank on these school systems. It was just recently, I would say within the last maybe 50 to 60 years, maybe 70 at the max, where Germany, no. Ivy League schools over in other countries, Ivy League schools were forced to remove a book out of their library or out of their curriculum that said that black people's skin is a result of disease. It was used in the schools. Ivy League at that. Just recently, with less than 100 years ago. We're so accustomed to being told something and running with it. Ain't nobody asking no questions. Ain't nobody asking why we doing this. Ain't just because about mama them or big mama them. Well, we do it because such and such. Because we've been trained and conditioned since birth. That's why. And we ain't doing nothing but perpetuating what happened to us and what happened to them and what happened to them before that. Ain't nobody stopping to actually understand the history behind why we do the stuff we do. Because then you're afraid. You're afraid that once you stop and do that education, do that scholarship, then you will definitely find out that what you've been doing for the last 30, 40, 50 years was a lie. So instead, what we do, we are comfortable in our ignorance. We're comfortable in our ignorance. We have gotten matching pajamas, fur-lined slippers, a plush robe, and everything in our ignorance, and have the audacity to argue it, because you've convinced yourself that it's the truth, because somebody done lied to you, and so now you got you spewing this outside in the world. And have the nerve to be upset with somebody else who don't think the way that you think, that broke out this matrix that you are so insistent on being a part of. Because they tapped into who they really are. And that, my love, is real true freedom. We are not free in this country. We ain't free in this world. We are not free on this planet. We are scoffed at. Okay? We're laughed at. We're not seen as people at all. We never have. We never will be. These folks have given Jews, Polish, Native Americans reparations, been giving them monthly reparations since the beginning. We've been asking for them same reparations, and what has happened? Nothing. These jokers give us Juneteenth as if we weren't already celebrating that day. They give us Juneteenth as if we weren't already celebrating that day. Oh, okay. Thank you. Are you kidding me? We don't need your permission to celebrate the day that we were the last slave was freed from chains. We don't need your permission. But everything that we're asking them for Black Lives to Matter, that's too much. But your white folks can incite the Capitol and only 2 people come out dead? Baby, if it was us, that whole lawn would have been covered. Would have been covered with black bodies and blood. They called the National Guard on the Black Lives Matter peaceful protest march. But the National Guard was nowhere to be found when it came down to the inciting of the Capitol. They broke up in that place, climbed all up the wall like some gorillas. But we the monkeys. We're the monsters. Marched them walls with torches and axes and bats and 2x4s. Broke into the house floor. Rummaged through paperwork. Busted out windows. Threatened security officers. It was a whole mob. Incited by the president, no less, of this country. And I ain't talking about back in Civil War time or during the Civil Rights Movement. I'm talking about just this year. 2021. This is why we gotta make it. And the sooner we understand that it takes us. It takes us being an actual village, working together, loving together, growing together, building together, raising together, cultivating together. It takes us. Why are we so hard pressed on somebody acknowledging us and our lives? It will never happen, people. I need us to get that through our thick skulls. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Which means we need to start mattering more to us. Because we got to make it. It's non-negotiable. All of this bickering back and forth that we do. I don't like her because all of this ratchetness that we got going on. All of this public display and fighting and all of this stupid stuff. Reality TV, baby, we have been made the biggest mockery of on the TV screen that I could ever think of in history. And we get all types of kicks and giggles out of it. Making a plumb, ignorant, dumb fool of ourselves. We laugh at the stuff. Real Housewives of Atlanta, we laugh. Love and Hip Hop, we laugh. We laugh. The Real Housewives series, period. The Love and Hip Hop series, period. All of these dumb, stupid reality shows that aren't uplifting nobody, because uplifting TV, encouraging TV is boring. So we got to look for the drama, for the sex, for the scandal. At our own virtue, at the expense of our own virtue, at the expense of our own dignity. We are okay with this? Sis, you okay without being out here exploiting your own body? You okay with that? Showcasing all of your everything? The very breast that you use to feed your children? The very vagina canal that you use to birth out lineages? The strong thighs that you need to brace yourself to bear your children and do what you got to do? We're okay with poisoning our body because our body is not good enough, apparently. We're okay with that. Brother, you are okay with being seen as a thug, a drug addict, a drug dealer, poisoning your people? I ain't talking about earth-grown stuff, because again, that's nature. You out here okay with calling your queens, your women bitches, hoes, sluts. You got anthems out here. You got anthems out here. Songs. That not only do y'all bop to or create, but women, queen, you bop to it too. We're okay. We're okay with being belittled, being degraded. We're okay. This is okay with y'all. This is okay with y'all. They gave y'all some money last year, and not 2 days later, put the Jordans on sale. And y'all went and lined up and bought them. Gave y'all some money last year, and Walmart strategically brought their TV pallets to the front of the store. And every pallet went empty. Predictable. And that's what the white man be banking on. Our predictability. Because it could be the same song. New partner. We get a little piece of money when we get our taxes. What we do? We go buy cars that we can't afford. We go buy houses we can't afford. We go buy trinkets and things we can't afford because we want to live with it outside of our means, because we want to appear to be something that we're not, instead of actually building, growing. That's what we're so big on, appearing to be something that we are not. If we invested on our inner as much as we do our outer, baby, we would be a whole beast out here, okay? You would be surprised. I am a coach. I'm a certified master life and purpose coach, okay? Baby, I have a course that I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's like $2,400 or $2,000 or something like that. 6-week course that will get you worked from the inner, outer, everything. Baby, honey, we hit on all aspects of your life. And it's a drill. You understand? Like, you're guaranteed not to be the same coming out of it. Do you know how many people ask me or tell me, at this time right now, Miss B, I just can't afford it right now. No, you broken on the inside. You are a shell of a human being. I just can't. Right now it's just that I just can't let that new Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada come out. I bet you was in line for that PPP. I bet you was in line for that EIDL. I bet you was in line for that stimulus. For you to go blow it on some bundles. A new unit. No tea, no shade. I'm just speaking facts here. You can feel how you may. I really don't care. That new watch, that new bling, that new grill, them new red bottoms. But you will not invest and take seriously your true self, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, your health, your sexual life, because that's a part of you too. Your financial preparation. We want to look like we doing something, but we don't want to actually be doing something, because that requires actual work. And I ain't trying to sweat out my edges. I just got my nails done. We to a place where we can't even go to the grocery store, queens. We can't even go to the grocery store without having a full beat on. Full beat. Full beat. I'm talking about brows, contour, highlight, lash, cut crease. full beat. Gotta have some designer on. Just throwing on a t-shirt and a couple and a pair of leggings or joggers or whatever just to run up the street to the store. That day is over, honey. Because everybody's a star. Everybody's a star. Trying to impress people that really just don't give a damn, honestly. Let's just be clear. They don't care. Don't nobody care. Because once they finish oohing and ahhing, what you on to the next thing? We out here celebrating. We celebrating artists that's publicly humiliating people. We want to be in an uproar about homosexuality, LGBTQ community. Uproar. How dare they? Oh, it's disgusting. Blah, 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 blah. We want to be mad at Lil Nas X for expressing his true feelings. And sidebar, let me tell you something. The lifestyle of homosexuality has been, okay? It's also been in our community for centuries. Oh, okay. So has polygamy. So has polyandry. All of those things. Okay. All right. All right. Because again, it's about this. It's a purpose behind things that they do, that people do. You ain't got to understand. But what I do in my bedroom ain't got nothing to do with you. Mind your business. Okay? But we want to publicly humiliate that type of living. But we celebrate all of the music that talk about killing, drugs. Okay? Being deadbeat dads, deadbeat mamas. Belittling our men, belittling our women. We okay with that. We out here twerking and popping to WAP. Because that's all you got value. That's the only value you got. Is a wet coochie. That's what you give. That's what you bring to the table. Interesting. Interesting. Hands on my knees, shaking. I think she said, I don't know, because she talked too fast on that. Talk about she on her thought stuff. That's what we celebrating right now? Being a thought? Not a queen. A thought? That's what we on? Beyonce's last album, The Black is King, The Lion King soundtrack. It's a song on there that's entitled Bigger. First of all, that whole album is a mood. It's a mood. And I advise all of our people to listen to that thing because it's some reminders up in there of who you are and where you come from. She gets it now. She gets it now. You see her growth all through her albums, honey. For real, for real. She is not a Destiny's Child no more. She on her queen stuff. For sure. But it's a song called Bigger. And the lyrics are, if you feel insignificant, you better think again. Because you're part of something way bigger. Not just a speck in the universe. Not just a Bible verse. You are the living word. You're part of something way bigger. Bigger than you, bigger than me. Bigger than the picture they paint you to be. You got to see it. Anthems. Anthems. You want an anthem? Let that be your anthem. Repeat it to yourself every day. Affirm yourself every day. Know who you are. Walk in who you are. Be who you are. Not who they trying to make you to be. Predictable. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. You are innovative. You are brilliant. You're what they want to be. They belittle you, degrade you, but then become you. Interesting. Or try to anyway, because they could never. They could never. You could pump your lip all you want to. Till them jokers explode. You will never have the juiciness that is my natural lip. You can get up on somebody's knife all you want to, baby. You will never have the ability to have my natural curves. Cornbread fed. Please understand. Please understand. And what you won't have is my soul. My heart. That is what our people is notorious for. Our heart. Our soul. Our spirit. Tap into yourself. Our people. We gotta make it, man. We gotta make it. And we gotta pull together to do it. My iron got to sharpen your iron. Your iron needs to sharpen my iron. It is what it is. We gotta pull together all of this division amongst each other. Don't you think that's a part of the plan to break us down? United, we stand. Divided, we fall. Divided, we fall. And they are trying to cause us to fall. They're trying to cause us to fall so bad. And we're falling for the trap. Use your voice. Use your voice. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your people. I don't care who don't like it. I'm not taking a popular vote. I don't care. How about that? And unfortunately, you're going to get some of the most hesitancy and the most resistance from your own folks. I'm just going to tell you right now why. Because the conditioning runs deep in folks. Oh, it runs deep. Man, oh man, oh man. It's really unfortunate. The deep conditioning of some people. They can't be convinced. They can't be told of anything new because they've been told the lies for so long. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing. It really is. You got to make it. We got to make it. We got to make it. Keep your head. Keep your head. Keep your heart. Keep your innovation. Keep your brilliance. Keep your soul. Keep your spirit. Tap into who you are. Go within. Go within because everything you need is within. It ain't without. It is within. I promise you that. Tap into your higher being. Stop living this low life. Tap into who you are. The real you. If you're going to use a vice, use one that's going to elevate you and bring you more in tune to who you are. Never use a vice that's going to blind you, that's going to cause your vision and your thinking to be obscured, i.e. alcohol. Okay? Okay? If you're going to use a vice, use one that's going to bring you closer to your knowing. It transcends you beyond your consciousness, meaning beyond what you can control. It takes you where you belong. In your spirit thinking, in your subconscious, in your deeper understanding. In the ether. You need help with that? You holler at me. Got a whole business about it. Promise you that. To do it properly. properly, not abuse, not abnormally use. Use it for your advantage, for you to be able to get closer to who you are. Promise you. I promise you. Y'all, we got to make it, yo. We got to make it. We got to make it. Our ancestors are relying on us to do so. Please don't make their death be in vain. Don't do that. Don't disrespect them by doing that. Push. Push. Finish. Do. Fight. Win. Love. Draw closer. Draw together. Be your God self. Connect to yourself. Tap into the elements. That is you. I love you. I mean it. There's absolutely positively nothing you can do about it. I know I kept you long. I'm usually in and out. This was necessary. Today is Friday, y'all. End it with a win. End this week with a win. You did great. You made it to Friday. End it with a win.